dose-response effects of the BWF shuttle time programme on children's actual and perceived motor competence. We know that interventions are of interest in motor competence research, and that we have a variety of intervention models that have been trialled within schools and school children. For the most part, these have been successful, but what we see in the literature is a majority of interventions tend to be conducted in isolation without a context of sport. And we also see that few studies have examined dose-response effects, even though the idea of a dose-response effect is well established in the literature. In this study, we particularly focus on the BWF shuttle time programme, which is a movement intervention that's broadly related to badminton development, but is applicable to a range of different sports and motor tasks. It's pitched at children aged 5 to 15 years and focuses predominantly on object control skills. Importantly, although the shuttle time programme is used in over 120 countries, as yet, scientific literature supporting its efficacy is not available. So we decided to examine the dose-response effect of the shuttle time programme on actual and perceived motor competence. We used a cluster randomised design where we took 6 classes from 3 schools in central England, and they were allocated to 3 conditions. The first, shuttle time intervention twice a week instead of statutory PE. The second, shuttle time intervention once a week, and then once where they took their statutory PE class. And the third, a control group who undertook their statutory PE. We had 158 children who were drawn from school year 2 and school year 4, and each session lasted approximately 60 minutes and took place over a 10-week period. The intervention was taken from the BWF shuttle time programme, and if people are interested, I'm more than happy to provide the programme we undertook via email. So pre, post and 10 weeks post-intervention, we assessed actual and perceived motor competence. Actual motor competence was assessed using the test of gross motor development 2 and specifically run, jump, catch and throw skills. These were used specifically because the national curriculum for PE in England explicitly states that children should master those 4 skills before they move on to fundamental sport skills. We assessed perceived motor competence using the pictorial scale of perceived movement skill competence from Barnett et al., using the same skills that we assessed for actual motor competence. Data were analysed using repeated measures ANOVAs with pre, post and 10-week post scores as within subject variables and sex and group as between subject variables. For our actual motor competence, there was a significant time by group interaction, whereby there was a significant increase in motor competence pre to post compared to control for both the once a week and 2 times a week groups. This difference remained significant compared to control at post to 10 weeks post, but the 2 times a week shuttle time group increased total motor competence score to a greater magnitude than the 1 times a week group. This is also reflected in the object control and locomotor subtest values, although you can see it as a more pronounced effect for object control. For perceived motor competence, there was a significant time by group interaction, whereby perceived motor competence increased for both the shuttle time groups significantly compared to the control group at both post and 10 weeks post. There was also a significant time by gender interaction, where we saw no significant differences for boys, potentially due to a ceiling effect, but for girls, perceived motor competence significantly increased pre to post and then plateaued. A key tenet of the shuttle time programme is the development of motor competence through badminton-related movement training, but in a way that's also applicable to a range of different sports. The present study supports the assertion that shuttle time enhances actual and perceived motor competence in a way that's superior to statutory PE. As an aside, we also undertook time on task analysis, accounting for the fact that within any intervention, the children won't be active all of the time of the planned session. We use this as a covariate in some of the analysis we undertook, and it did not change the results of the statistical analysis at all. So overall, the results we present here suggest that the BWF shuttle time programme has a positive short-term pre to post and sustained post to 10 weeks post effect on children's actual and perceived motor competence. However, for actual motor competence, there was a greater benefit to undertaking shuttle time twice a week in comparison to once a week.